Alright. So now it's time. That's the example that you probably couldn't see before. I'm not sure if you can see the bottom of the board. Now it's time to take all of this beautiful information and turn it into something that we can understand in the context of factoring. Now, factoring is like layers and layers of this type of math, really, and it just all kind of circles back around on itself. So let's just practice factoring some very basic equations. So let's say we have x squared plus x, and you're asked to factor this. All right, easy. Now, what I like to do, and you don't have to do this once you understand it, but what I like to do is break this up into kind of decompose it a bit. So again, x squared is really just x to the 1 times x to the 1, right? And it's being added to another x to the 1. Now, we cannot add these two together. This is not 3x squared, you know. Because they have different exponents, they can't just be added together as is. What we can do to factor this is we can look and ask ourselves, also recognize that this is being multiplied by 1. Everything is really being multiplied by 1 at the end of the day. You could even say 0 is being multiplied by 1 if there's like a 0 component to your equation. I don't want to confuse you. But anyway, you have decomposed this, and you have a 1 here, 1 here. What is the shared component of these? Well, besides the 1, we're going to be leaving the 1 behind. It's one of these x to the 1 values, okay? Now, you could say, well, there's 2 x to the 1s in this equation. Well, yes, I'm not going to argue with you there. There is. But because there's only 1 x to the 1 in the second part, you can only take out what's in both of them, okay? And so if we pull these to the front, what we're left with is x to the 1 being multiplied by whatever's left over, and we'll keep that plus sign, okay? So what's left over is x to the 1 times 1 plus 1. We're never going to pull out the 1 term, by the way, just leave it, for, even though they both have that. Because what happens if you pull out 1, you're still left with 1, because 1 is equal to 1 times 1, and you just have a 1 in the front. But it doesn't matter. Let's make this a little less ugly. Really what this is again, x to the 1 is just equal to x. What's here is x. And pretend like the 1 is reabsorbed. And we're left with 1 here. So x squared plus x is equal to x times parentheses x plus 1. And if we can recall our rules for foiling, which you may not be super familiar with at this point, if we were to multiply this back in, we would multiply x by the first term, and we would multiply x by the second term. And that would leave us with the plus sign, all that, so we would get x times x for this first part, plus x times 1, and if we simplify that, that's x to the 1 times x to the 1. So x to the 1 plus 1 is x squared plus x. Easy. Okay, it's a very basic factoring example.